Okay, so web is basically, if you program your website, you would be using HTML or CSS, HTML and CSS. So think of HTML as the document. Suppose if I compare to Word, right, you will write all the text. So think of that as an HTML, and CSS is basically the styling. So if you write anything on your notepad, right, suppose I've written anything on my notepad, I can apply some styles on if you move to Word, right? So in Word, for example, I can have a heading one, heading two. I can also do bold and italic. So this styling is basically using CSS or cascading style sheets. And HTML is the markup language, which is basically you have some tags, H1 for heading, P for paragraphs, etc. But in case you want to have more styling, you can do it by CSS. So HTML is the main way how your browser understand the web pages. CSS is the styling or how they are, used to provide a better user experience and a better UI that we use on the web. Then you have a JavaScript. JavaScript is different from Java. First and foremost, never confuse JavaScript and Java. JavaScript is a client-side language. All right, there's a version of JavaScript which is also server-side, but there are certain packages of JavaScript, I should say, which can be used as server-side. For example, Node.js. But mostly JavaScript is a client-side language where it is run on your browser. So it has a document object model. JavaScript runs on your browser. So suppose if you have a website, what you can do from the server, you can send some JavaScript code to the browser, and that would be run on the browser. So all the logic is performed on the browser. So this is called a client side. And whatever programming or you can say logic is occurring or being done on the server side, on the server, that is called the server side. So JavaScript is heavily client side, and it powers most of the website UI, as well as you can say responsive design, the mobile, you can say stacks that we have. So you will have JavaScript as one of the most famous languages in web. So in case if you talk about Web 1.0 website, and I think I've given this an example in the previous session, in the you can say the demo session that I had. Suppose if we are having a used car website, we can create static car1.html, car2.html, car3.html pages specific for each car, and that would be HTML, and we can have some CSS code. It can be inline. Inline means it can be written in the same file, or we can have a separate CSS file which will provide the style. So this is hosted in a web server. But if we talk about Web 2.0, so as I mentioned, there is some user generated content as well. For example, forums, social media, comments, etc. And then there is a website producer content, for example, blog articles, images. The problem occurs how we are going to format and store all this data, right? So the storing of data is difficult in terms of HTML. I mean, it is possible. There are certain tools that do that, which are called flat file uh, CMS, flat file content management system, but it is bit, I would say, tricky to do that. So the heavily industry approach is to use a database, and that database would store all the data. And there's another term called content management system. So a content management system is a software application that simplify the process of creating, managing, and publishing content on the website. For example, you can use WordPress, which is a very famous content management system, to start your own website. And it is WordPress is powering most of the websites on the internet as of now. It had a fairly large share a few years back, but because it is pretty heavy and pretty bloated, right? So it's not used that much, but still it has a heavy share across the market. So this is a kind of WordPress demo where you can just add a title, and just like you are editing your Word document, you can recreate the content and you can publish it, and then that is live on the website. So this is how WordPress is used.